Be me, Tina, 34, Human Resources Manager. Today, I'm meeting with Matthew, our Chief Executive Officer, to discuss my new hiring initiative. I've spent weeks putting together data showing we need more gender balance. Currently, only 23% of our workforce is women. Walk into his office feeling confident. Matthew's sitting behind his desk looking at my proposal. His jaw is clenched, face getting red. Tina, what the hell is this? He's holding up my diversity hiring plan. It's a roadmap to equity, Matthew. I've identified that we need to prioritize female candidates for the next 6 months to balance. Prioritize based on what? Their qualifications or their gender? Wow, okay, here we go with this again. Both, obviously, but we need to acknowledge that qualified women have been systematically overlooked. Show me one qualified woman we passed over. He's literally yelling now. Kind of unprofessional, to be honest. Matthew, the numbers speak for themselves. 23% women means there's bias in our process. Or it means 77% of our qualified applicants were men. His face is actually purple now. Never seen him this angry. Whatever. I came prepared for resistance. Spend the next hour going back and forth. Look at companies like Salesforce, like Adobe, I tell him. They've committed to gender parity and they're thriving. They hire the best people and then work on inclusion, Tina. You're suggesting we hire people because they're women. I'm suggesting we correct historical imbalances by creating new imbalances, by literally discriminating. He stands up, starts pacing. Do you understand what you're asking me to do? You want me to look a qualified candidate in the eye and say, sorry, you have the wrong chromosomes. He's being so dramatic. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying when we have equally qualified candidates, then we hire the best cultural fit, the best interviewer, the person who wants it more, not whoever checks your diversity box. This conversation is going nowhere. Decide to table it and bring more data next time. Next week, I come back with statistics, printed out studies about diverse teams performing better, highlighted sections about innovation and different perspectives. Matthew takes one look at my materials and I can see his blood pressure rising. Tina, do you know what our turnover rate is? 8%? 7.2%. Do you know what our employee satisfaction rating is? High. 94%. Do you know why? He doesn't wait for me to answer. Because I hire the most competent, most qualified, most dedicated people I can find. Period. End of story. But Matthew, just because something is working doesn't mean it couldn't work better. Oh, here we go. Here comes the we can always improve speech. You know what? You're right. We can improve. Want to know how? He leans forward, hands flat on his desk. By hiring the absolute best talent available, not by playing social engineer. You're acting like I want to hire incompetent people. You literally sent me a memo last month saying we should lower our technical requirements for female applicants. Okay, that's not exactly what I said, Bill. I said we should consider alternative experience. Alternative experience? Tina, we're a software company. Either you can code or you can't. This goes on for another 90 minutes. He pulls up every hiring decision I've made in the past year. Explain Jennifer to me. Oh God, here we go. Jennifer is a great addition to the team. Jennifer has the lowest performance metrics in her department. Her manager has flagged her 3 times. But you know what? Her resume was identical to another candidate, Michael, except Michael had 2 more years of experience and 3 more certifications. Jennifer brought a different perspective. She brought nothing except a gender you wanted to check off. And now her manager is tearing his hair out, trying to get her up to speed while the rest of the team picks up her slack. He's literally shouting now. People can probably hear us outside. One hiring mistake doesn't invalidate. Okay, let's talk about Patricia and Angela and Rebecca. Should I continue? This is so unfair. He's cherry-picking bad examples. Matthew, in any large sample size, there will be large sample size. You've made 47 hires since you became Human Resources Manager. I've had to have performance conversations about 9 of them. That's almost 20%. Want to know what they have in common? Can feel my face getting hot. You're about to say something really inappropriate. They were all diversity hires that you pushed through over the objections of department heads. Storm out of his office. Need to cool down. He's being completely unreasonable. Go back to my desk and start documenting everything. If he's going to be hostile to progress, I need a paper trail. Send him a formal email outlining my concerns about his resistance to inclusive hiring practices. Get a response in 5 minutes. My office. Now. Fuck. Walk back in. He's standing by the window, arms crossed. Turns around when I enter. Let me be very clear with you, Tina. Crystal clear. His voice is low, but I can hear he's absolutely furious. I have spent 15 years building this company. 15 years of 80-hour weeks, of maxing out credit cards, of missing my daughter's childhood. You know what kept this company alive? Doesn't wait for an answer. Excellence. Standards. Refusing to compromise on quality. Ever. Matthew. Diversity is quality. No, it isn't. He slams his hand on the desk. Diversity is an outcome of good hiring, not a criterion for it. When you hire the best people, you naturally get diversity because talent comes from everywhere. That's naive. That ignores structural barriers. Oh my God, Tina, what barriers? Our job postings go everywhere. We recruit at 15 different universities. We use blind resume screening. What more do you want? Blind screening doesn't eliminate bias. We literally remove names and gender markers. He's pacing again, running his hands through his hair. You know what your problem is? You don't actually care about this company. You care about your ideology. That's not fair at all. I care about making this a better place. For who? The women you hire who can't do the job, the teams who have to compensate for underperformers, the qualified candidates we reject because they're the wrong gender. You're completely mischaracterizing. Then explain your email. The one where you said we should aim for 50% women in tech roles within 2 years. Okay, he's taking that out of context. That was an aspirational goal. Based on what? Where are we supposed to find these candidates? There are only 20% women in computer science programs, which is why we need to look at alternative pipelines. There it is again. Alternative pipelines, code boot camps, self-taught. And you know what? I'm fine with that. I don't care where someone learned to code, but they still have to actually know how to code. You're being deliberately obtuse. I'm being realistic. You want me to hire people who aren't qualified because you think it makes us look better. We go back and forth for another hour. He brings up budgets, performance metrics, client satisfaction scores. I try to explain how short-term growing pains lead to long-term benefits. Short-term growing pains? Tina, we lost the Jameson account last month. Want to know why? Oh God. That was not related to Rebecca, your hire. The one who was supposed to be a senior project manager despite having 2 years less experience than the other candidates. She missed 3 major deadlines and blamed it on not understanding our systems. She needed more onboarding. She needed to have the experience she claimed on her resume. Experience you didn't verify because you were too busy congratulating yourself on hiring a woman into a leadership role. That's not what happened. The hiring committee approved her. After you told them I wanted more women in management, they thought it came from me. Oh, didn't realize he'd found that out. I may have implied that executive leadership supported. You lied. You lied and said I wanted gender quotas when I have explicitly said the opposite in every company meeting. He's absolutely beside himself. Never seen anyone this angry. Try a different approach. Matthew, I understand you're frustrated, but the research is clear. Companies with more women in leadership perform better. Yes, I've read the studies. You know what those studies don't say? That you should hire unqualified women into leadership. I never hired anyone unqualified. By your standards, maybe, but by the actual job requirements, by the standards we've held for 15 years, yes, you did. He pulls out a folder. Oh no, it's full of job descriptions with handwritten notes. Let's go through these. Marketing manager position, March. Required, 7 years experience, proven track record of campaign management, expertise in digital analytics. Who did you hire? Sarah, and she's doing great. Sarah had 4 years experience, no campaign management experience, and her expertise was a Google Analytics certification she got 2 months before applying. She had potential. The job requirement said 7 years. The male candidate had 9+. He'd managed campaigns for Fortune 500 companies. He was arrogant in his interview. He was confident. There's a difference. But you decided confidence in a man was arrogance and lack of experience in a woman was potential. This goes on and on. He has documentation on every hire I've made, has notes from department heads, performance reviews, everything. Do you see this? Do you see what you've done? He spreads papers across his desk. You have compromised the integrity of this entire organization because you decided your social mission was more important than our actual mission. Our mission should include creating opportunities for qualified people. Qualified. Why is this so hard for you to understand? He sits down, puts his head in his hands. I'm trying, Tina. I'm really trying to understand your perspective. But everything you're saying basically boils down to discrimination is okay as long as it's against men. That's not. Then what is it? Explain it to me in a way that doesn't involve lowering standards or choosing based on gender. Think for a minute. Okay, think of it like we're correcting historical imbalances. For decades, women were excluded from these fields. So now we need to actively work to include them. By excluding men, by prioritizing women. That's the same thing, Tina. There are only so many positions. Every woman you hire because she's a woman means a man doesn't get hired despite being more qualified. Maybe those men should try harder then. Probably shouldn't have said that. Matthew's face does this thing where it goes completely still. Uh-oh. Get out. His voice is quiet. Matthew, get out of my office right now before I say something I'll regret. Leave quickly. Spend the rest of the day stress eating at my desk. This is so unfair. He's being completely unreasonable. Decide to go over his head. Send an email to the board of directors expressing concerns about hostile work environment and resistance to diversity initiatives. Feel pretty good about this. They'll see I'm right. Next morning, called into emergency meeting with Matthew and 2 board members, Robert and Susan. They do not look happy. Matthew looks like he hasn't slept. Also, looks like he wants to murder me. Tina, Robert starts. We've reviewed your email and discussed your concerns with Matthew. Good. Finally, some backup. We've also reviewed the hiring data Matthew provided. Oh, can you explain why your hiring recommendations have a 45% approval rating from department heads compared to the 89% approval rating of your predecessor? That's because I'm pushing for necessary changes that create discomfort. Can you explain why turnover among your hires is 15% compared to 4% company-wide? Those are growing pains from cultural shifts. Can you explain why you told the marketing department head that Matthew personally requested more female candidates when he had done no such thing? Shit. I may have miscommunicated. Matthew makes a sound like a strangled laugh. Miscommunicated. She miscommunicated. Robert holds up a hand. Matthew, please. Turns back to me. Tina, these are serious issues. We're going to need to put together a performance improvement plan. What the fuck? I'm the one who needs improvement? He's been screaming at me for weeks. Matthew explodes. Because you've been systematically destroying the hiring standards I spent 15 years building. Susan jumps in. Both of you need to calm down. Tina, you're not being fired, but you are being reassigned. Matthew will handle final hiring decisions going forward. You'll focus on onboarding and employee relations. This is completely insane. You're punishing me for trying to create equity. Matthew literally laughs. Actually laughs. Equity. She wants equity. You know what equity would be? Hiring people equitably based on their qualifications. That's not what equity means. Oh, I know what you think it means. It means special treatment. It means lowering standards. It means discrimination with a pretty name. Matthew, Robert says sharply. Matthew stands up. No, I'm done. I'm done with this. He turns to Robert and Susan. I want to make something very clear, crystal clear, on the record. Pulls out a folder. This is every hiring decision Tina has pushed through in the past 18 months. Do you know what we have? 47 hires. 31 were women. Sounds great, right? Diversity win. He starts pulling out papers. Of those 31, 9 have already left. Another 6 are on performance improvement plans. 3 have been moved to different roles because they couldn't handle their assigned positions. 4 have filed complaints about being set up to fail. Matthew, Susan tries to interrupt. No, you need to hear this. Because Tina sent you an email about me creating a hostile environment. Want to know what's actually hostile? Hiring someone into a job they're not qualified for and watching them fail. He's on a roll now. Nobody can stop him. Want to know what Jennifer told me when she quit? She knew she wasn't qualified. She knew I'd wanted to hire Michael, but Tina convinced her it was her right to have that job. And then when she couldn't do it, when her team was frustrated, when she was working 70 hours a week and still falling behind, she had a breakdown. Okay, that's not my fault. She asked for that job. You offered her that job. You told her we had an initiative. She thought it was legitimate. And now she's in therapy because you set her up to fail to prove a point. That's completely unfair. I didn't set anyone up to fail. Yes, you did. You hired people into roles they weren't ready for, gave them impossible expectations, and then blamed everyone else when it didn't work. Robert tries again. Matthew, we understand you're upset. Upset. I am beyond upset. I am watching my company fall apart because someone decided her ideology mattered more than excellence. Turns to me. His eyes are actually scary. Do you know what our client retention rate was before you started this crusade? 96%. Do you know what it is now? 87%. Do you know how many clients have specifically mentioned performance issues? 12. 12 major clients have threatened to leave because of problems traced back to your hires. That can't be right. You're blaming me for normal business fluctuations. I have emails, Tina. Emails from clients saying our work quality has dropped, saying deadlines are being missed, saying our team seems undertrained. He throws papers on the table. But sure, let's keep hiring based on gender instead of qualifications. I'm sure that'll fix everything. Susan picks up the papers, starts reading. Her face changes. Robert leans over, reads too. Oh no. They look at me. Tina, this is concerning. Those are isolated incidents. 12 clients, Matthew shouts. Matthew, please lower your voice, Robert says. But he sounds less sympathetic now. No. You know what? I'm not lowering my voice. Because I need both of you to understand something. He stands up, walks to the window. I will shut this company down. Do you hear me? I will close the doors, liquidate everything, and walk away before I let this continue. Everyone goes silent. Did he just... Matthew, that's extreme, Susan starts. Is it? Is it extreme to refuse to compromise everything I built? Because that's what she's asking me to do. He turns back, points at me. She wants me to look qualified people in the eye and tell them no, we're hiring someone less qualified because of their gender. She wants me to lower our standards. She wants me to lie to candidates about why they're being hired. And I will burn this entire company to the ground before I do that. My mouth is hanging open. You would put hundreds of people out of work. You're putting them out of work. Every client we lose because of poor performance is jobs at risk. Every hire that fails is money wasted. Every team member who has to compensate for an underperformer is a retention risk. He's absolutely unhinged. This is insane. You're being completely irrational. Irrational? Let me tell you what's rational. Hiring the best people, maintaining standards, keeping clients happy. That's rational. The meeting goes on for 3 hours. Matthew presents data, client feedback, performance reviews, everything. I try to explain that these are necessary costs for long-term cultural change. Cultural change? Our culture was fine. We had great retention, great performance, great client relationships. You broke it. I improved it. By what metric? Name one metric that improved. Employee diversity, that's not a performance metric, that's a demographic. How does that help us serve clients better? Try to explain studies about innovation and diverse perspectives. Tina, I swear to God, if you cite that McKinsey study one more time, I'm going to lose it. Diverse, high-performing teams do better. Not just diverse teams. The qualification part matters. Back and forth, back and forth. Robert and Susan just watch. Finally, Robert holds up his hand. Enough. Matthew, take a walk. Tina, you too. We need to discuss this. Wait outside for 45 minutes. Matthew's pacing in the hallway. Won't even look at me. Finally called back in. Here's what's going to happen, Robert says. Tina, you're being removed from hiring decisions entirely. You'll report to Matthew on all human resources matters. Any policy changes require his approval. This is completely unfair. You're letting him punish me for trying to do the right thing. The right thing? Matthew's voice is dangerous again. The right thing would have been doing your job. Hiring qualified people, following our standards, not running a social experiment with my company. Matthew, Susan says firmly, we've made our decision. He sits back, jaw clenched. And Tina, if we see any further issues, if any more hires fail, if any more clients complain, if there are any problems related to your judgment, you'll be terminated. Is that clear? Can't believe this. Nods silently. Good. You're both dismissed. Storm out of the office. Matthew catches up to me in the hallway. Tina! Tina! Turn around. He's right there, and he looks absolutely done with everything. I meant what I said. Every word. I would rather shut down this entire company, put everyone out of work, lose everything I've built, than let you continue destroying it with your discriminatory hiring practices. They're not discriminatory. Yes, they are. Choosing people based on gender is discrimination. It doesn't matter which gender you're choosing. It's still discrimination. You're never going to get it. No, you're never going to get it. Because you're so convinced you're on the right side of history that you can't see you're just perpetuating the same problems with different victims. Walk away before I say something I'll regret. He calls after me. And another thing. When this company fails because you've chased away all our talent and clients, don't you dare blame me. This is on you. Spend the next week in my new diminished role. Every hiring decision I recommend, Matthew rejects. Brings in the actual most qualified candidates. They're mostly men. It's infuriating. Try to document everything for a potential lawsuit. Matthew somehow finds out. Get called into his office. Really? You're going to sue? For what? Being stopped from discriminating? For retaliation. Document it. Document all of it. Please. Give me the chance to present to a court exactly what you've done here. He actually seems eager. Every rejected candidate, every falsified recommendation, every time you lied about my approval. Please take this to court. I would love to have a legal record of your incompetence. Realize he's got everything documented. Every email, every conversation, every policy violation. I've got nothing but complaints about being stopped. Another long conversation ensues. You still don't get it, do you? He says after an hour of arguing. You think you're fighting for justice. You think you're making the world better. But all you've done is make things worse for everyone. That's your perspective. It's reality, Tina. The women you hired into roles they weren't ready for. They failed. Their careers are damaged now. The qualified candidates we rejected, they went to competitors. The team members who had to pick up the slack, some of them have quit. Our clients, they're leaving. Those are all temporary. Nothing about this is temporary. Reputations don't rebuild overnight. Client relationships take years to develop. And you've damaged both in 18 months. He sits down heavily. I'm tired, Tina. I'm so tired of fighting you on this, of explaining why standards matter, why qualifications matter, why we can't just social engineer our way to your version of fairness. Then let me do my job. Your job is human resources management, not social activism. Your job is to find the best candidates, not to rebalance gender ratios. Why can't it be both? Because they're different goals. One serves the company, one serves your ideology. We go in circles for another hour. Eventually, he just waves me away. Get out. I can't do this anymore today. Leave feeling vindicated. He's clearly losing this argument if he won't keep engaging. Next day, email from Robert. There's been a company-wide policy change. All hiring decisions now require Chief Executive Officer approval. My role is officially limited to onboarding and benefits administration. Matthew has won. Completely and totally. Try to appeal to Susan. She won't even take my call. Run into Matthew in the parking lot a week later. He sees me, and his whole body tenses. Tina. Matthew. Awkward silence. Are you happy now? I ask. Happy? No. Tina. I'm not happy. I'm relieved. Relieved that I can finally hire qualified people again without having to justify why their qualifications matter more than their gender. You're impossible. No, I'm principled. There's a difference. He starts to walk away, then turns back. You know what the saddest part is? You actually believe you were helping. You convinced yourself that lowering standards was justice, that discrimination was equity, that feelings mattered more than competence. I was trying to create opportunities for people who weren't ready for them, and now they've failed publicly, damaged their careers, lost confidence in themselves. Is that the opportunity you wanted to create? Don't have an answer for that. I meant what I said, about shutting down the company. I know. Do you? Do you really understand that I would rather destroy everything I've built than compromise on excellence? I think you're being dramatic. I'm being honest. This company means everything to me, and I will not watch it become mediocre because someone decided mediocrity is acceptable as long as it's diverse. He walks to his car. Good night, Tina. Try not to find any new ways to lower our standards before Monday. Sit in my car for an hour. Can't believe this is how it ended. Can't believe he won. Can't believe the board sided with him. But mostly, can't believe he was serious about shutting down the company. What kind of person chooses destruction over progress? Start the car and drive home. Still convinced I'm right. Still convinced he's a stubborn, angry man who refuses to see the bigger picture. Still convinced that one day he'll understand. But deep down, tiny voice I won't acknowledge. Wondering if maybe, possibly, I missed something. Push that voice away. I'm right. I have to be right. Otherwise, what was all this for? Next week, Matthew hires 3 new people, all chosen purely on qualifications. 2 men, 1 woman. The woman is honestly probably the most qualified candidate I've ever seen. Master's degree, 10 years experience, glowing recommendations. She's also someone I would have never pushed for because I wanted to find women who needed the opportunity. Watch her integrate seamlessly into the team. Watch her performance metrics exceed expectations. Watch Matthew not even mention her gender once. Because to him it doesn't matter. It never mattered. Only qualifications mattered. That tiny voice gets a little louder. Still push it away. Grab my phone. Start drafting another email about the need for equity initiatives. Delete it. Start again. Delete it. Matthew's words echo. I will burn this entire company to the ground before I do that. He meant it. He really, truly meant it. Sit at my desk, hands hovering over keyboard, finally close the laptop. Maybe, just maybe. But no, I'm right. I have to be. Don't I?